You just finished Interview with a Vampire and you need something that hits the same way. The longing, the darkness, the way that love and power and destruction and all things toxic get tangled up together until you can't tell them apart. Well, I've got the perfect books for you. And before you go thinking that this is just all brooding Gothic reads, I even have a vegetarian vampire under house arrest for a murder he didn't commit and a Rockstar deal with the devil. So stay with me because these are the 6 books that I would hand you right now if you walked into my library and said you needed more of the Vampire Lestat. Hi, I'm Francesca. I've been reading paranormal romance, Gothic fiction, urban fantasy for longer than I care to admit, maybe like 3 decades. And Interview with a Vampire was one of the books and the movies and everything that started it all for me. I am an Anne Rice scholar. I've read all the Vampire Chronicles. I've watched every season. I've seen all the 90s movies more times than it's probably healthy. So when I tell you that these books will scratch a very specific itch in base of what you like about the show, I definitely mean it. Now, season 3 is all about the Vampire Lestat. Lestat is one of the most iconic vampires ever. I've already seen Lestat in his iconic Queen of the Damned Rockstar era, and I'll have a video when the season is all done comparing the two. But by the end of this video, you'll have 6 books that each hit different parts of what makes the Interview with the Vampire series so consuming. Definitely one for toxic immortal romance, 2 for Gothic atmosphere, 1 with all the queer longing and politics, 1 definitely for the Lestat energy, the camp and the humor and all of that, and 1 that's been living rent-free in my head since 2013. I do have a full list on the blog with even more books. I'm going to leave that linked in the description if you want to check it out. But these are the 6 that I would start with. So the first one is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Now this is a retelling of Dracula told from the perspective of his brides. Constanta is turned at the brink of death and spends centuries slowly realizing that the vampire who saved her is also the one destroying her. Now, if I had to pick one word for this book, it's definitely gaslighting. He gaslights them constantly. It is at times disheartening to see all the ways that he manipulates the people that he's supposed to be taking care of. But, and this is what makes it more than just a toxic vampire story, we have Constanta, who is brave enough to question her sire and strong enough in her sexuality to find enjoyment in places that Dracula absolutely did not want her to. And I definitely think that that is a wonderful, empowering arc. It's written in this gorgeous confessional prose that feels like someone was writing a letter to the person who ruined them. And it's basically if Louis the Pontiac kept a journal instead of Claudia, this is what it would read like. But honestly, this is one that will definitely leave you thinking about it constantly, and the writing alone is totally worth it. Now, these next 2 are for the viewers who love Interview with the Vampire for the atmosphere. One of them is sapphic, one of them is straight, but both will make you deeply uncomfortable, I think, in the best way. The first one is House of Hunger by Alexis, Henderson. We have Marion, who escapes poverty by becoming a blood maid for a wealthy vampiric countess in this lavish estate called the House of Hunger. It's sold to her as a life-changing opportunity, obviously, but it is a fatal trap because the countess drinks from her blood maids and they keep disappearing in the night. Now, behind all that glittering illusion of the House of Hunger, the rich literally feed on the bodies of the poor, and the question this book keeps asking is the same one that I feel Interview with a Vampire is asking. What do you become in order to survive, and how much of your soul do you lose in the process? Now, Marion has to adopt the ruthless and predatory nature of the oppressors that she serves. And I think that that transformation is what makes this more than just this beautiful Gothic manor with a monster in it. Alexis Henderson also writes atmosphere the way that Anne Rice writes seduction. There's opulence and danger and desire and coercion all blurred together until you really can't separate them. And to me, that is the DNA of Interview with the Vampire. So really, any one of her books, but definitely start with this one. And second is The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. Now, the blurb for this one opens with a line that stopped me dead in my tracks and made me want to read this one. And it's, have you ever wondered how long it would take for a lethal dose of arsenic to kill you? 35 hours, 29 minutes, and 15 seconds. I should know, I counted myself. Like, that's, besides the fact that I've seen so many people recommending this book, that's what got me to read it, because I love that. Now, this is set in Victorian London. We have the heroine who's a botanist and a hobbyist poisoner who kills unsavory men as her own twisted sense of justice, very Julia Tofana of her. And then we have a vampire hero who becomes obsessed with her. Now this one has the stalker angle before she's even understanding what is watching her. And then there's also a moment where she kind of wants it anyway. So she knows that there's something really dangerous that's happening, but she also can't stay away from it. And I think that that is the most Interview with the Vampire feeling in this entire list, because we have this obsession that she herself develops, not just him, even though in her case it's something that, as far as she knows, could destroy her. Now there's not too much opulence in this one. It is a different kind of Gothic in my opinion, but in many ways it's the same feeling. And I think also in the writing style, this one definitely gave me a lot of vibes of Anne Rice and all of those books. Now I will say there is a plot twist at the end of this book, which is going to reframe everything that you read up to that point. I'm not going to say another word about it. Book 2 is already out, so you definitely can go ahead and binge the whole thing. Now, the fourth book is Silver Under Nightfall by Chupeco. This one is for the Interview with the Vampire viewers who are there for the vampire politics of it all, the queer longing, and the slow burn that absolutely will make you insane. In this we have Remy, who is a vampire hunter, born noble and cast out by society, who ends up having to team up with a vampire couple to stop a plague threatening both humans and vampires. And predictably, he falls for both of them. This one definitely has a parallel because Remy is not just fighting vampires, he is fighting his own inner demons from the trauma and abuse that he received from his father and from society. He is a character destroyed by where he came from, trying to find a place in a world that never wanted him. Sound familiar? This one's definitely a slow-born, polyamorous relationship with vampire politics, with genuine, true high stakes, no pun intended. And if you love the way that Interview with a Vampire handles the tension between hunters and hunted, then I definitely think this is a great one to add to your TBR. Okay, so the fifth book is The Devil's Medal by Karina Halle. Now this one I've been recommending for over a decade. I reviewed this book back in 2013, and it is still the first book that I will always think about when someone says Lestat in his Rockstar era. You can take Almost Famous, the movie, and throw in a healthy dose of Queen of the Damned, minus the vampires in this one, but we're keeping it paranormal anyway, and that's what you get, The Devil's Medal. It's set in the 1970s, and it's about a young female music journalist who gets the assignment of a lifetime, which is basically to go on tour with her favorite band to write for Cream magazine. Now, the band is called Hybrid, and the guitarist is dark and brooding and magnetic, and something is very wrong with all of them. Like they all lost their souls. I definitely think that this one embodies the energy of Lestat in his Rockstar era, because we do have a man who has made a deal with the devil or something he doesn't really fully understand and is magnificent and terrifying because of it. And if that is not Lestat in the Vampire Lestat, then I don't know what is. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this book scared me enough that I had to put it down at 1 a.m. because I didn't want to be reading it in the dark, but I loved every second of it. I've definitely said that this would make a great horror movie, and if you enjoy it, there is a second book to it as well. And my last one, and this is the one that I promised you at the start, it's The Vegetarian Vampire Under House Arrest. That is Be Still My Unbeating Heart by Josh Winning. So Bastien is a vampire, but he doesn't drink human blood. He's a vegetarian and he survives on animal blood, and he goes on vacation to a small coastal town in Italy where there aren't supposed to be any other vampires because that's the law. He finds himself next to the dead body of a woman with her throat torn out, and immediately after he realizes that, the cops are there. Of course, he's assumed to be the one responsible for it, and in this particular town, for a vampire to hunt humans, the penalty is death. He ends up on house arrest with a human detective, and he's trying to prove that he didn't do it before the council decides that he did. But I'm sure you're already seeing the references to Interview with the Vampire, even though Louis was the one that was the vegetarian vampire that wanted to survive on animals. Except the way that Bastien is described, it definitely gives me Lestat, and the roles are reversed in this one. Another thing that I really love was the relationship between Bastien and his cat, his female cat. There's some amazing one-liners, but also if you watch Interview with a Vampire, you probably saw a connection like that between Louis and Claudia. It is definitely the campy theatrical personality of Lestat, but in a cozy paranormal mystery mystery with some romance package. So if you love the humor in Interview with a Vampire, and there is genuine humor, in my opinion, in Interview with a Vampire, is one of the things I love most, then this book is the one for you. Here's what I want you to take from this list. Interview with a Vampire is not just one thing. It is about the grief, it is about the camp, it is about the gorgeous prose and the chaos, the longing and the theatrical nonsense and the fury and all of that destroying the lives of everybody in really toxic ways, but they still can't stop. Now, I think that the best books in this genre do the same thing in different ways. They give you more than one feeling at once, and definitely every book on this list will do that. Again, I have a full list on the blog with even more books, so I'll leave that linked in the description. I'm including one in there that is perfect if you love the Mayfair witches, which are part of this universe as well. But I would love to know what are your recommendations for books that are perfect to read if you love Interview with the Vampire, so leave those in the comments down below. If you enjoy the recommendations, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I post new videos every single week covering paranormal, romance, urban fantasy, dark romance, historical romance, romantasy, and more. So if that's your corner of the internet, welcome. But for now, season 3, The Vampire Lestat, is coming. I'm definitely going to be watching, and I'll be back with my thoughts on the full season once it wraps. I'll see you then. Bye!